Hello, all. This is Karun Jethi again. Like I promised, we are back with the review of GT20 2019. Today I have with me again, like promised, Umar Bhatti. Umar, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks, Karun.
How was it, man? Super over.
And yeah, who would have thought, after the World Cup final a few weeks ago and then another Super Over in the final, and it almost came down to the boundary count, but luckily the Winnipeg Hawks got over the line. So all in all, I think it was a very fitting end to the great tournament. I think it's just going to raise the profile of cricket in Canada. So, definitely a bonus with the way it ended.
You know what, man? It looks like it's becoming a trend of any major event, whether it's IPL, GT20, World Cup, any big event. It has to go down to the wire for some reason or the other. You know, why do you think? Is it something to do with the pressure that is on every player, regardless who that player is? That everybody is out there to win, and they give their 200%. What do you think is the reason for going down to the wire?
I'm not sure what the reason is, but that's been the trend recently. Obviously, it boils down to the pressure of the game. In a final or a semifinal, it's always going to play on your nerves. So sometimes people lose their nerve under pressure. Sometimes they come through. So it's just a mental application. And we talked about that last week. You asked me if I could ask anybody, what if I could ask one of the international players about anything, and I said, I would ask them about the mental pressure of how they're able to handle things. I mean, look at Andre Russell yesterday. He came in and single-handedly almost took them over the line. Unfortunately, they couldn't get there. But just to be able to pick out his brain, because he's been a superstar in the last few years on the T20 circuit, and he's almost always under that sort of pressure, whether he's batting or bowling. So, to be able to ask him questions, how he handles the pressure, I don't think you can ask much more of him. I mean, skill wise, you can work on it. Everybody, has the same opportunities to learn the skills, but it's the mental aspect of the game that really stands out. That makes good players to great players. It's just the next step that they have to go to mentally in order to be able to achieve that success.
Very well said, Umar. You know what? Honestly, bro, when the tournament's first few games happened, the last team I thought would win would be Winnipeg Hawks. You know, and I've always been the believer of underdogs will come through. But in my eyes, the underdogs were like Montreal Tigers, the way they were performing. Can you shed some light, being an international player yourself, being a part of a team who's been in many tournaments as underdogs? So why is that the underdogs always, outperform other top teams?
When you have less expectations than the teams that are favored, you're under no pressure, as such, because the limelight is not on you. So you kind of, fly under the radar without much scrutiny or without much criticism. Really plays its part. Same thing as you mentioned, Montreal Tigers. I think up to a certain point they were doing well, but yeah, nobody. At least I didn't think that Winnipeg the Hawks, were going to win this tournament. All the teams were very competitive. They were all stacked very well and evenly placed, but it just didn't seem like that. They would win the tournament. They had Chris Lynn, JP Duminy, who was the highest scorer in the end. But even then, they just never seemed like the type that were going to win the tournament. Vancouver Knights, from the outset, being the defending champions, I think, they were all along to win they were the favorites to win all along. So, I mean, credit to them that they almost got over the line, but as we know in sports, almost is not good enough.
But Umar, I think at some point what happens is if you have a team full of international names that will sell out crowd just for the fact that they are in the ground. Do you think sometimes that impacts from a team's value from being an underdog to become the championship contenders?
It takes more than big names to gel as a team, because certainly, as we know, the bigger the superstar, the bigger their ego. So sometimes that, they clash. That's why you said, we see players with lesser of lesser quality or ability do much better than the superstar team. We've seen time and time again in IPL with the Bangalore challengers that they've got a stack lineup: AB de Villiers, Virat Kohli. They used to have Chris Gale, but they've never gotten over the line. I'm not saying that they can't win a championship, but it's just I guess it's a lot harder to gel as a team when you've got too many superstars because everybody has their own method. So you don't necessarily buy into what the coach is telling you because you're such a big name and you've done things your way for a very long time. Whereas with the lesser known players, they tend to buy into the mindset or the program that the coach is trying to put together. So they're more successful. I mean, go back all the way to 2008 when Rajasthan won. Rajasthan was won the inaugural IPL title. Other than Shane Warne and maybe a couple of other players that were on the international circuit. No, but there were big names around that team. But look what he did with them, Shane Warne.
I think
So
only big
that's a
name was
perfect
Shane,
example.
Shane Watson was there with him, but he was on in his prime going upwards. But then he produced guys like Yusuf Pathan and other boys who became a big names in world cricket. So
Exactly. So I mean, this is a chance. So from being a lesser known player, you can go to a big name player just by by performing in a tournament and standing out. So and then that is you're on your way to becoming a great player.
So Umar, one thing I've noticed, like if you see every squad have few Canadian players in it, 4 or 5 Canadian players in every squad, and then you have a sea of experienced, well-known international cricketers. Do you think if GT20 and Cricket Canada decide that for next season we're gonna assign one player a mentor player? I'm sure they're doing right now, or they're not doing right now. But do you think that could be a good idea for every youngsters? So, say for example, somebody like Rizwan Chima is assigned with Afridi, you know, or Junaid Siddiqui, who idolized Afridi's leg spin, assigned with him, or Saad bin Zafar assigned with Yuvraj. Do you think stuff like this will help Canadian creators develop even more?
I mean, look, the opportunity that our players are getting now, I don't think you need to assign a particular player to an individual. All these guys should be going up to them, rubbing shoulders with them. They should be picking their brains at all times. Whether you're in the ground or in the hotel or wherever you may be, because we only have a limited window of opportunity. So these players need to make the most of it while they can, because these kind of opportunities don't come along every day, and we have certainly seen that in the last 10 years. They've been very few and far between. So no, I don't think you need to have one player assigned to a Canadian player. It's just that our Canadian players need to take the initiative to pick their brains when they're here.
So it should be a job of every individual, what their mindset is, what they want to do with their career going forward. Like to be honest, knowing yourself and myself, if we were in those shoes right now, we would be picking their brains every day. Every
Yeah,
time.
imagine. I mean, it's not only the players that are playing. I mean, look, you have Wasim Akram here, you have Brian Charles Lara, Mahela Jayawardene is here, and these guys are all-time great. And if you cannot go up to them to ask them questions to learn more about what it takes to become a great player, then I don't know. I think you're just wasting your time. Because these players are not going to come up to you and ask you, "Oh, come, let me give you some tips, or let me tell you about this." No, you have to take the initiative as a player and go and ask these guys questions, and they will be more than happy to share their experiences because that is what they're here for.
So, guys, one very good lesson from one of the best ex-international Canadian player who have been in that place, who have worked with Wasim Akram sir in past in his academy in Lahore. When you have these guys around, pick their brains as much as you can, man. Ask them any question you want. There's no such thing as a stupid questions. Anything it's in your mind, pick their brains. You have 3 weeks with them, go for it. So, Omar, overall, GT20, if we have to stay in one paragraph from day one till the super over, how would you put it?
I think it's been an exciting tournament. We've seen better quality of cricket as compared to last year. So that means we're on the up. Obviously, last year a lot of people don't know what to expect. So the bar wasn't set very high. This year, they did well. There was a lot of awareness. I mean, if you could just look around Toronto, there were posters up everywhere. There was a lot of social media presence. So they marketed it a lot better, and I'm sure they had better turnout this year because it was within the city. So people had access, public transit or whatever, because that was an issue last year going out of city. This year, fortunately, we didn't have that issue. So overall, I think we're GT20, is here to stay, and it's going to be an even better tournament hopefully next year.
And Omar, in your eyes, do you think you saw a lot of better Canadian performances this year compared to last year? Like the performances that impacted the result of the game, whether win or loss, you saw the Canadian boys, Canadian lads coming up, going against these big boys and performing to the best of their caliber.
Yeah, that's what it's about, right? Ultimately, because that should be Cricket Canada's goal, that we see our players being developed, and it certainly helped in that regard because last year there was no stipulation as to whether Canadian players played or not, but this year there was, and obviously we saw so many great performances by our Canadian players that it can only benefit us in the long run. So how we now the challenge is if they've set a bar for themselves that they gotta go and raise it even higher, our players. So the onus is up to them, is on them. So I mean it's really how what they want to get out of it. It shouldn't be just 3 weeks of cricket and go back to being the ordinary players. No, we got to step up because unfortunately our leagues don't provide that opportunity. But this is a platform where we can really launch our players into stardom.
Omar, very well said again, brother. Um, Next thing that comes into my mind is, you know what, man? When you see these guys performing day in and day out, once this finishes, T20 qualifiers starts within less than a week, and the team is being selected. So if we shift our focus towards there for a second, I personally think we both have seen the teams. We have both talked about it. I think there's been a very good selection process. It was entirely, from the looks of it, based on the performances of GT20, and I think selectors this time have done a very good job. Do you think is there a name or two missing this time, or it's been a complete perfect team?
It's never a perfect team, as we know. There is certainly, at least from the looks of it, there's one name missing, and that is Salman Nazir. I'm very disappointed that even after some stellar performances for Toronto Nationals, he hasn't been able to open that door where he can play for Canada. He's a great cricketer, but whatever the reasons are for him not being there are unfortunate. But hopefully, he can come back. This is not a setback for him because he's shown his skills on a world stage, and if that is not good enough for the selectors, then I don't know what is. So,
I, I agree with you, brother. I agree with you. We have known Salman Nazar from a very young age when he was a junior, and he's always been a gutsy, very fiery, like a firecracker sort of cricketer. And he showed that in the games. He actually won a game at the end by scoring two boundaries, cheeky boundaries. That's how sort of good he has been. So one of our main performers in T20 squad is Saad bin Zafar, who's a left-arm spinner batsman. So sometimes every team in the world, when they go to big tournaments, they carry a replacement. I think Salman Nazar would have been a very good replacement for him, if not like-to-like person in the team. So I think Salman Nazar, brother, sorry you missed out this time, but many more things to come, at least at T20 level. Lala, any last things you have to say before we leave?
As far as Saman is concerned, I don't think he should be disappointed at all because he's held his own in every sense of the being. But life goes on, and as you said, there will be more opportunities, and hopefully, Canada can qualify to play in the global T20 qualifier, and I mean, it would be absolutely fantastic if they qualify for the T20 World Cup because that is the way forward for Canada in international cricket because we have to get back up where we belong. Unfortunately, things haven't gone well in the last 10 years, but I think it's time to look forward, and there are exciting times ahead for Canadian cricket.
Very well said, brother. Guys, I think the team they have put right now for T20 is probably the best team in associate cricket. Even if you bring Ireland, Kenya, even Afghanistan at one point, the team they put together, they can compete with any unit. And the reason is because the experience they just received in 3 weeks of GT20. Good luck to Cricket Canada for the qualifiers. Good luck to G20 for the next year. Lala, thank you very much for being with us. I'll hope to do more shows with you, brother. Speak to you very soon.
All right, take care.
All right, guys. This is Karun Jethi signing off. Thank you for BaatShaat, Salman Bhai, Lucky Bhai. You guys doing a great job. Keep it up. Lala, I'll speak to you again. Thanks, bro.
Take care.
Bye.
Hey guys, keep watching BaatShaat and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.